Meditation, sacredness, and devotion. So, just the practice of meditation without any awareness of sacredness, it's a mechanical practice, a dead practice. Still has its benefits, but they are very, very reduced. And when I say benefits, it's the fruits of your work. How high can you climb in the ladder of consciousness? So just for example, I give you a technique of a mantra. The mantra is the name of God. And as you are repeating the mantra, you are tuning in with that divine presence, that divine existence. And that is a sacred act. If you're just repeating a mantra empty of meaning, it's just a repetition to the mind. Of course, it will still bring benefit because the more focused your mind is, the more cleansed it becomes. But emptying your mind from worldliness and not filling it with the divine is a waste of time. So understanding that your meditation is the formal meditation, of course you should be doing this constantly, and with time you will, but that is a formal moment that you introduce yourself to the divine, that you are in front of the divine, looking upwards, raising your attention to that reality. And by raising your attention to that reality, you're releasing your attention from the lower reality / illusion. But that, without raising your attention, you're just stuck here in the same place. So understanding that meditation is a sacred act, this is very important. Because just by being aware of this, and by being aware that you're repeating God's name, you're calling for God as you repeat the mantra, this will bring life to that meditation. And eventually, that life has to become perceptible, but we'll go there into another video. So not just sitting and repeating those words, but more than that, realizing what's happening. You see, delusion survives on your attachment. You're convinced that you're the body-mind complex, and you're attached to all the body-mind complex activities. This is how illusion persists. And as you are trying to raise your consciousness, you are looking above, high, into the divine. You are tuning with the divine. And you can only do that through awareness of sacredness. No other way. So bringing sacredness to your meditation, being aware of it in all sittings, at all times, makes that meditation become alive, meaningful. And the divine is a presence, the presence with which you interact in one way or another. And by repeating the divine name, you are getting closer and closer. So, being aware of sacredness brings life into your practice. And the exercise, which is devotion, love towards that sacredness, It's what makes you rise above human normal condition. So devotion, it's another important aspect. So your meditation should start with a prayer, becoming aware of that sacred task that you're undertaking. That space where you are, it's your temple. It's the temple where you revere, you give love and devotion to the divine. To yourself, actually, to your higher self, not to your lower self. So this respect, this awareness in your opening prayer is very important. Thanking God for the blessings, thanking the sages and saints that have give their knowledge so that you can access it. You can do an opening mantra, or just a prayer speaking to God directly, because that raises your vibration and it makes it what it is, a divine undertaking. And the more you become aware of that sacredness, the more devotion becomes possible. And the more devotion becomes possible, the more you will rise above human normal limitations. The more you rise above impurities. So meditation is not just an empty act, a mechanical act. It is filled with meaning, it is filled with sacredness. It is a sacred undertaking. As you finish your meditation, you should thank again and pray again for guidance, for wisdom, for strength to endure, to persist. And you should thank for the opportunity of that calling. Of that knowledge. Because the more you tune in with sacredness, the more your eyes will be able to see it everywhere. And the more your eyes are able to see it everywhere, the more you will rise above attachments, fears, all obstacles, all of that which conditions you to illusion. So for now, we can talk about devotion to God, to the divine, to that, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it. It's a divine presence, a divine identity, which is there, which can be reached, touched. And that happens through sacredness. So just meditation without sacredness. And this is, I'm speaking more towards beginners, but this is also for those who have been a long time on the path, because many have been a long time on the path, but they have jumped stages, and then the fruits, they don't show, or they are very weak. But those who have been for a long time, they see that it's difficult to bring this awareness of sacredness constantly at all times, because the mind tends to defend itself and go to a superficial aspect of the practice, maintaining, for example, the mantra repetition, but without any sacredness involved, any devotion involved, any remembrance of the divine. just passing the time. So your meditation, your practice should not go into automatic. You should always be aware of what you're doing, and you should always be aware of sacredness. And you can use the mantra, God's name, as a way to exercise devotion. In each repetition, fill it with devotion. In each repetition, fill it with the love for God, with the love for the divine. In each repetition, each repetition. Don't let it become random. Don't let it become mechanical. Your attention should be present at all time. Being aware of sacredness, of that sacred undertaking, you're tapping into the divine, surrendering to the divine, going towards the divine. And then the exercise of love towards that divine. And that is devotion, the most purifying aspect of the practice. It is the life of the practice. It is the life of the spiritual calling. And it is the vehicle towards the source of who you really are. To achieve devotion, a lot of impurities have to go. But keep on trying it from wherever you're standing is the way. So remember, a prayer before the practice of meditation, bring awareness of sacredness, of the divine undertaking, and then the devotion in each repetition, calling for that divine presence in yourself, or to rise to that divine state. And then in the end, prayers again. This will bring life content to your spiritual practice. Sacredness, devotion.